Hello, this is my Module 10 case study for our school communications relations class. Okay, so our first section, summarizing the case and establishing the facts. So, what all has happened? So, a new parents organization has been created. A parent organization wants to be more involved in the decision making and policy making progress. And this organization has established committees. I, as the principal, am tasked with trying to figure out what is going on and if I am going to allow these things to happen. So the parents organization wants to make some changes to the back to school event. I, as the principal, I'm kind of surprised with this proposal for greater involvement, as our previous parent organization was not as involved. And then I also want to be able to provide our parents organization with an appropriate response for their proposal, because I want them to be involved, obviously. So the people that are involved currently are the parents organization members and then myself as a principal. And when and where did this occur? At the start of the new year, in a meeting in my office. Evaluating and reporting any legal and ethical issues. So some legal issues that we might come across. FERPA violation in regards to discipline. So FERPA violating any of those rights, because we need to make sure that all kids' information stays confidential. And it could be a breach of contract in the negotiated agreement requiring teachers to attend events. Teachers do not have to attend any of these, and it could be a breach in some of their contracts. Ethical issues, the running of the elections. I don't necessarily know how the organization was created and who was invited to join, and who were the parents that were given the opportunity to join, and parents overstepping their boundaries. So not knowing really if parents need to be involved in the classroom in that way, and those types of conversations where we are making decisions, as that is not necessarily how parents are supposed to be involved. So section 3, synthesizing exactly what has happened. So in just one sentence here, the school's parent organization would like to be more involved in the school's decision making and policy making processes. I am tasked with giving them information and guidance in how we, the school, and they, the parent organization, can work together so that all needs are met. So evaluating some of the missing facts. So the parent organization is not associated with the national PTA. I'm not quite sure why they decided to remove themselves or to disassociate with the national PTA, as the national PTA has a set of curriculum and some guidelines that they follow. So that would be the best thing for them to do. And then not quite sure how the parent organization held its elections, who was invited to join, who is it that they reached out to. We don't really understand the size and demographics of the school. I also don't know what grade we're teaching. Is this an elementary school? Is this a middle school? Is this a high school? And then we also don't know the location of the prior meeting that the PTA held. So they had a meeting and they decided who all the people were going to be that were in charge of the different committees, and I have no information about that meeting, and I'm not quite sure why I was also not involved in that meeting. The program, we don't understand the school budget, or we don't know the current school policies or the current school organizations. And then offices held in the new parent organization. We only know about the president, but we don't know what other offices are currently held. So reviewing and prioritizing the information. So how are the stakeholders involved in these decisions? So parent involvement is obviously so vital to student success and the overall success and atmosphere of our school community. But the parent organization can be involved in certain aspects of decision making and policy making, but not in all of them. So just making sure that or understanding that parents cannot overstep their boundaries. There is a chain of command here. We need to know kind of where that needs to be. I think there's more to this situation that I can learn. I need to know who's involved in the parent organization, how these elections were run, and I also need to be able to communicate with my staff that the parent organization has some new ideas going forward. I feel like there is enough information for me to develop an improvement plan, but I also feel like there's more information that I need to gather before making any really big decisions. So, identifying possible options and consequences. So, I feel like there's three different options I can have, or I currently have right now. One is to agree to everything that the parent organization has proposed. Two is to communicate with the parent organization that they can be involved in school activities, but cannot be involved in the daily decision or policy making processes. And then number three is to collaboratively engage with the parent organization and all other stakeholders to come up with an action plan that meets everyone's needs. So, evaluating all these three options, with option one, if I agree to everything that they are proposing, some of the pros are that I'm going to avoid conflict and the parent organization is going to feel valued and powerful. The cons are the legal risks that I had just shared, the ethical concerns, once again, of how did they get to be how did this parent organization begin, and are there going to be some overstepping issues? And it kind of exhibits a little bit of lax leadership from my part because I'm just agreeing to everything that they are asking of me. Option two is to communicate with the parent organization and let them know that they can be involved, but they can't be involved in certain ways. So the pros are that this is going to keep the flow of the school as it was. There are no legal or ethical concerns here. The cons can be that it might be an uncomfortable conversation to have with the parent group, and it could also result in little to no parent involvement. So if the parents feel like, there's pushback and I'm not really wanting them to be a part of the decision making process, they might feel like, well, what is the point really of doing anything else? Finally, to collaboratively engage. So, some pros here are that this is going to benefit the school improvement plan because we're all going to be working together. It's going to promote student development as well because, once again, we're all going to be collaboratively engaging with one another. It's advocating for staff and student needs because we're going to all talk about it together. It's going to allow the parents to feel valued, and it's going to involve all stakeholders. The cons are that this is going to take a little bit of time, some resources, and planning. So, this is going to take a little bit from all of us to come together, and it might not happen in this 1 year. So, reflecting and developing the best plan. So, some resources that I need to look at before I choose the plan is thinking about the district staff handbook, taking a look at the teacher's negotiated agreement, and then also taking a look at the local and state laws and policies that are currently in effect in my state. So I feel like the best plan is to collaboratively engage with the parent organization, all other stakeholders, to come up with an action plan that meets everyone's needs. So I don't think I'm going to give them an exact answer right now, but we're all going to come together and see kind of what's going to work for everyone. So the implementation of this plan, this is my plan of action. I'm going to notify the district and building leadership teams about meeting with the parent organization. We're going to meet with the parent organization officers to discuss our willingness to collaborate, talk about the expectations, concerns, and schematics of the organization's future meetings. So making sure that we know where these meetings are held, if they have an agenda, what are the expectations. Next, I'm going to explain district state policies and laws to the parent organization so that they know, so that they're abiding by these laws and all the laws are being put into place. And then recommend to parent organization representatives serve on the building and district leadership teams so that they can have someone there who is a representative for them. And then we're going to begin sharing building improvement data and programs in place for student success. Obviously, we're going to abide by FERPA, keeping students' information confidential, but we are going to show them the current policies in place and programs in place so that they can see what we are doing. So, reflection, some possible outcomes. The building leadership team will ask teachers how they see themselves collaborating with parent organizations. So, I feel like that would be the best thing, making sure that we're just kind of getting a two-way communication from building leadership team to teachers and then back up. Teachers will either want to participate or they'll be hesitant to spend time creating presentations or staying after school. So we maybe have to meet some of these teachers halfway. I don't think this is necessarily a bad idea, but I think that it's going to take a lot more effort from teachers who are at the front line of this. Teachers' concerns will be voiced to the parent organization. So I think that when it comes from teachers, it's so much more powerful, and really facilitating those conversations with teachers and parents is going to be something that is going to be instrumental. So I think the plan B could be that I meet with the BLT, so the building leadership team, and the parent organization to voice concerns and areas for growth. And then we create a new plan of action with the help of the building leadership team and parent organization. So I don't really feel like I am pushing back on this. I feel like I want to come together with the parent organization and figure out where it is that we can kind of meet in the middle. Implementation and reflection. So, my concluding statements here. So, I feel like this case study allowed me to see the power of collaboration and communication with community groups. Parents are our first line of defense, so collaborating with them is essential to student achievement. So, the relevancy here, this case is extremely relevant and is something my building administrator voiced has happened in previous years. So, taking the time to think about how I would respond to this scenario has allowed me to see the importance of meaningful relationships and strong communication with all stakeholders. So, this is something that could absolutely happen at some point whenever I am a principal. And my own personal reflection, this assignment has put me one step ahead in the drafting of an action plan if this ever is a scenario that comes up in my own building, which is great. I also feel like I have learned just how important it is to have great communication skills. All pertinent information needs to be given to all stakeholders so that plans can be created or tweaked. I feel like this class has empowered me to work with all publics and to strive to communicate with them all exceptionally. I feel like really that is the building block of all of this, to be able to communicate with all stakeholders, keep them involved, keep them in the loop, and whenever anything comes up, to just talk about it and have real conversations so that nothing is lost in translation. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. Have a great rest of your day.